Aku coba, aku coba.
Included in there?
Alah kon.
Welcome to our beautiful city of Amsterdam, and welcome aboard this unique canal cruise.
To make this journey as safe and pleasant as possible, please follow these rules of the boat. Please do not stand on the chairs or benches. The space behind the captain should be kept free of any objects. And whatever you do, please keep your arms and head inside the boat at all times. Some of the bridges are very low, and they come up suddenly.
In the case of an emergency, take a moment to note where the emergency exits are. There are two at the front of the boat, one to the left, and one to the right, and another through the hatch door in the roof. This boat is equipped with life-saving equipment. And if an emergency situation arises, the captain will distribute them and give you instructions. Remember, this is a non-smoking cruise.
When you exit the boat, please check and double-check that you have all your belongings with you. Any questions? Your captain is here to assist you. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the cruise.
Welcome to Amsterdam, capital city of the Netherlands. What better way to experience this compact and very international city than from the unique perspective of its waterways? There certainly are a lot of them. This city has over 100 kilometers of canal. Amsterdam is known for being friendly, open-minded, and progressive. It's a popular place to visit and do business. Just think, in a population of only 800,000 people, you can meet 170 different nationalities.
This area's rich history adds a sparkle that's never far below the surface. During the 17th century, Amsterdam shone especially bright, like gold. This golden age was an extraordinary time. Politics, art, and business all reached new levels of sophistication. Dutch shipbuilders revolutionized sailing. Amsterdam boasted a thriving stock exchange, and painters like Rembrandt and Vermeer produced remarkable art.
Let's take a step back in time, a big step, to the 12th century. To our left, there was nothing but vast stretches of marshland, lakes, and sea. To our right, at the mouth of the Amstel River, was an early settlement of simple huts. Settlers built a dam across the river, hence the name Amstelreden, or the dam built across the Amstel.
Now, fast forward to the past. Amsterdam has grown into a fortified medieval village, complete with dikes, ditches, and canals to control the sea level. Even this far back in time, it was an important trading hub. Ships sailed back and forth across the Baltic Sea carrying grain, cloth, wood, and salt.
Look to the left. Nothing you see, including the land itself, was here during medieval times. Over the centuries, much of the land around us was wrestled from the sea. To reclaim this polder, or land that was once covered by lakes and seas, industrious Amsterdammers built dikes and used windmills and pumps to get rid of unwanted water. And they've done an amazing and ingenious job of it. When it comes to controlling sea levels, the Netherlands takes the lead worldwide.
The building with flags atop it is the former Scheepvaarthuis, or shipping house. A group of shipping companies ran their businesses from here. This early 20th century building is considered to be the first true example of the Amsterdam school style of architecture. The front of the building is impressively adorned with statues of Neptune, his wife, and 4 figures that represent the points of the compass. The building is decorated inside and out with all kinds of nautical symbols, anchors, ships, and famous Dutch mariners. It's now a 5-star luxury hotel. We're now traveling along what was once the outer defense wall of the city. The original city boundary was to the right, to the left, salt marsh and the North Sea. The red brick tower coming up ahead of us is the medieval Montalbaanstoren. An ideal lookout for sighting potential invaders, it was built to protect the city's shipyards, wharves, and warehouses from attack. From here, Dutch soldiers armed with longbows, crossbows, and early firearms called arquebuses kept watch over the wide expanses below.
The tower's white spire and clocks were added a century later. They were designed by Hendrik de Keyser, an architect whose work can be seen around Amsterdam, and who you're certain to hear more about on this cruise. The clocks couldn't keep time, and the tower's bells rang out randomly, so locals gave it the nickname Silly Jack.
Not long after the spire and clocks were added, the tower began to list to one side. With some effort, it was pulled to rights. You might be wondering why so many buildings in the city tip to one side or the other. The ground in Amsterdam, a mix of peat, sand, and soil, is very soft. Because of this, buildings were generally designed to be as light as possible. None were very tall, and they often had lots of windows. For stability, they were built on a bed of wooden piles driven as deep as 15 meters, that's 45 feet, into the ground. But if these piles were exposed to the air, they began to rot, and the buildings they supported sank and shifted. Today, water levels in and around the city are carefully controlled to minimize rotting. When new piles are needed, they're made of concrete. Still, you'll see many a house with a sideways tilt.
The Montalbaanstoren was a place where sailors gathered before setting out to sea. The journeys were long and difficult, and not everyone returned. Legend has it that the women who loved them also came here to say goodbye, perhaps forever.
For families. As much as it looks like a ship, that wasn't the original intention. The famous Italian architect, Renzo Piano, designed Nemo as an inverse reflection of the A tunnel, which runs beneath it. The building's height equals the depth of the tunnel. Nemo gets its green color from the oxidated copper that covers its walls. There's a unique sand-filled terrace on the roof where you'll find sunbathers searching for rays while enjoying beautiful views of the harbor and the city.
To our left on the corner, just completed the new head offices for Booking.com, built by the well-known Dutch architect Ben van Berkel.
Cruise ships from all over the world dock at the PTA, or Passenger Terminal Amsterdam. It's shaped like a wave, or the back of a whale. Some locals like to call it the goldfish, because the tourists brought here by the big cruise ships help to bolster the economy.
Coming up here to our right, Museum Harbor Amsterdam. Owners of classic Dutch barges have a mooring here. They also live on these boats. Water quality is actually quite good here, so coming up here to our left, an open air swimming pool.
The Maritime Museum is housed near the old harbor in a very large building that was once the weapon arsenal or warehouse for the Amsterdam Admiralty. There were originally 2 docks in front of the building for constructing and arming warships of the Dutch Republic with cannons and other weapons. A replica of a trade ship called the Amsterdam is now docked outside the museum, giving insight into just how small and cramped sailing conditions were.
The building was renovated and reopened in 2011. A beautiful domed glass roof was installed over the spacious inner courtyard. The roof is shaped like a compass rose, and during the day you can look up and see lines like those on an old map. After dark, hundreds of tiny LED lights blink on, creating the illusion of a starry night.
The museum is well worth a visit and contains shipping and sailing artifacts and collections of maps, weapons, model ships, as well as paintings of naval officers and dramatic sea battles.
So what you just saw is a replica, a copy of 18th century, of the 18th century Dutch cargo ship, the Amsterdam. The original Amsterdam sank on its maiden voyage near Hastings, England. At low tide you can still see the remains over there. And here we will re-enter the old town through one of the 16 remaining former sea locks. These locks are not in use anymore, but still operational just in cases of emergencies. These wooden lock doors are renewed some every 50 years. The date of last renewal can be seen on the doors themselves. In this case, 2004 and 1955.
The canals were built in 3 phases, starting at the west side of the city and moving east. They reached this area, the Plantage, toward the end of the 17th century. At that point, the housing needs of the city had already been met, so officials decided not to allow private housing in this neighborhood. Instead, the space was filled with gardens, courtyards, and charity homes for the elderly. By the 1800s, people began building homes in this area. Notice its unique feel, with more greenery and wider lanes than anywhere else in the city.
Freedom of religion, free speech, sexual freedom. All of these are outlawed in parts of the world. We are glad to say that we can take freedom for granted in the Netherlands. Dutch television and radio broadcast frank discussions of drugs, euthanasia, and body functions. No one giggles at nudity.
Of course, Dutch law places a few limits on what we can do. Discrimination, libel, and slander are illegal. So was blasphemy until 2014. Like every society, we Dutch have our taboos and disagreements. But on the whole, we're grateful to have a nation devoted to freedom for all.
In 2013, Amsterdam's botanical garden, the Hortus Botanicus, celebrated its 375th anniversary, making it one of the oldest in the world. It began as a modest medicinal herb garden and grew substantially during the Golden Age, as Dutch explorers traveled to the East and West Indies and other faraway places. They brought back exotic plants and seeds, including the tulip, the potato, and tobacco, all of which are now considered common. The Botanical Gardens collection has grown to contain thousands of specimens from the common to the very rare. Nearby, you'll find Wertheim Park, one of Amsterdam's oldest public parks. This picturesque green area is home to the Auschwitz Memorial, a series of broken mirrors. They're positioned to reflect the expansive sky above, symbolizing the broken heaven above Auschwitz. The area we're sailing through was originally part of the Jewish neighborhood. During the Spanish Inquisition, Sephardic Jews from Spain and Portugal fleeing persecution found refuge in Amsterdam. The 17th century brought a second wave of Jewish immigrants. This time they came from Central and Eastern Europe, and most were very poor. They were attracted by good work prospects and the freedom to practice their religion. Before long, Amsterdam had the largest Jewish population in Europe.
Unfortunately, World War II changed that. As the war approached, 80,000 Jews lived in Amsterdam. By the time the war was ended, there were only 5,000 left. Still, their early influence has been strong. The city has been enriched by Jewish culture and the knowledge and skills they brought. For example, as traders, diamond cutters, and tobacco processors.
Although Jews were free to practice their religion, they were excluded from the Christian-based guild system. Guilds were associations made up of craftsmen or merchants that shared the same profession. These associations set up trade monopolies, quality standards, prices, and they often had some political power. Guild members also worshiped together. Some Jews were able to work at professions that had no guild, such as diamond cutting, goldsmithing, and peddling wares. The majority lived as poor laborers.
To our left in the distance, the most iconic bridge in the city, the Magere Brug or Skinny Bridge. First bridge built here in 1697. This bridge also looks rather old, but it isn't in its present form. It was constructed in 1934. There's a weird legend about this bridge, and it says that if you pass under this bridge for the very first time and you kiss the one you love, your love will last forever. So that's why we do not go there forever. It's quite long.
City. In the early 17th century, a time of tremendous physical and economic growth, 3 new canals were laid out in concentric rings. The Herengracht was innermost. The Keizersgracht, or Emperor's Canal, was in the middle, followed by the Prinsengracht, or the Prince's Canal.
The wealthiest citizens, shipbuilders, merchants, investors, and politicians built elegant mansions on the Herengracht. The Keizersgracht was solidly middle class, while the Prinsengracht had a more industrial atmosphere. Of the 3 canals, the Prinsengracht was the only one that connected directly to the harbor, and its low sides were designed for loading and unloading cargo.
And so, the farther you lived from the city center, the lower your social class. Today, this would no longer hold true. All of the city center is expensive.
Here we pass under the Utrechtstraat, a shopping street named after the city of Utrecht, some 30 kilometers from Amsterdam. The city of Utrecht, by the way, much older than Amsterdam. Amsterdam was established in 1275 Utrecht already existed in the Roman times, some 2,000 years ago. A couple of years ago, they linked 6 of these large houses together here to our left, refurbished them and converted it into the Waldorf Astoria Hotel.
Get your camera ready. We're about to pass by one of the most photographed views in Amsterdam, the 7 arched bridges over Reguliersgracht or Canal. This beautiful and unique view of all 7 bridges at once can only be seen from here on waters of the Herengracht. Our kind captain will be slowing down to give everyone a chance to catch a photo of this unique sight.
To our right, Helbrand Square and Thorbecke Square, 2 squares with lots of nightlife, cafes, bars, restaurants, etc. On the square, a statue of statesman Thorbecke. He was the founder of the Dutch Constitution in 1848. Please note for the next explanation that Amsterdam has, for the first time in history, a female mayor.
While nobles ruled elsewhere in Europe, here in Amsterdam, it was the self-made merchant. During the 17th century, they were earning as much as 700,000 euros a month. That's more than the average rich person earns today. The wealthiest of the wealthy lived here, on the Herengracht.
Today, almost all of these mansions are used for business, as people can no longer afford to live in them. An exception is the city's mayor, whose official residence is at number 502 Herengracht. Look for the great facade with white columns just before the bridge.
The golden age of the 17th century was a stellar time for Amsterdam. From politics and the economy to arts and science, everything flourished. And the city was now the most important trade center in Europe. Building restrictions limited houses to a width of no more than 6 meters, or 18 feet. But those who could afford got around this by buying 2 adjacent lots and building a double house. Some of these double homes even had 2 different facades. There was no restriction on depth, and with 20 to 40 rooms, a large private garden, and a coach house behind that, mansions often stretched all the way over to the next street.
We're now at the so-called Golden Bend of the Herrengracht, the most lavish section of all. Imagine going into one of these sumptuous homes. On the first floor, an elegant entrance hall with marble floors, high ceilings, and chandeliers. Mirrors were strategically positioned to create an illusion of even more space. And single-lot houses would often have a fake door on the side of the entryway to make them appear bigger than they were.
Rooms were richly decorated with painted wallpaper, oil paintings, fine sculptures, and exotics such as Turkish rugs and Persian silks. In the second half of the 17th century, Parisian furniture, Louis XVI style, was very much in vogue.
As a gentleman, you might join your host in a deep-colored smoking room. A lady, your hostess would receive you in a light blue salon or tea room. Here, you'd sip imported tea from China while looking out over a beautifully manicured garden. Musical concerts and grand parties were common, and each house had many rooms dedicated to entertaining. For a first-hand glimpse of life inside an opulent canal house, there are two wonderful museums in the area, the Hilde in Lopenhaus and the Village Hofhausen.
Also note the two beautiful houses coming up here to our left on the corner. They are named the twin sisters. You can see why. Similar houses were quite often built next to one another to save on architecture and construction costs. Another example on the opposite side, the two black houses, so we have nicknamed them the twin brothers. Here we have arrived at Leidse Grachtenkanal, named after the city of Leiden, some 45 kilometers from Amsterdam. This canal also used to be the city border till 1650. The city wall has been here to our right.
The Dutch are known for leaving their curtains open, as if to say they have nothing to hide. This is especially noticeable at night, when many of the canal houses are lit up from the inside. To experience another side of Amsterdam, consider taking an evening cruise. You can choose from several options, including our tasty pizza cruise. Ask our staff for more information.
This is the Kaisersgracht, or Emperor's Canal, named after the Austrian Emperor Maximilian. Of the 3 main canals dug during the city's expansion, the Kaisersgracht is the widest. To orient yourself, picture the Herrengracht, or Gentleman's Canal, to our right, and the Prinsengracht, or Princess Canal, to our left. There are many coach houses on the right. They belong to the mansions over on the Herrengracht. Their large doors, big enough for a horse and carriage, make them easy to spot.
The streets would have been overrun with poor working-class people. You'd have to step around open sewers and steel yourself against the nasty smells of dead animals in the tanning business that hung heavy in the air. Many tanneries set up shop here, and some of the street names reflect this animal-based industry. You can find a bear street, a deer street, and even a skin street. In general, though, it was the cow, and sometimes the goat or hare, whose skins were tanned, and these were used to make shoes, saddles, and many other items. Today, you get to experience something very different. The streets are now lined with cute little shops and fancy restaurants, and the air is fresh and appealing.
Richly decorated canal houses. There's so much to notice. So many flourishes and details. Ornate door cases, sculptures, and of course the decorative gables at the roofline.
There are several different types of gables, and over the decades, they've gone in and out of fashion. See if you can spot them all. The oldest type is the spout gable. This basic triangular shape is seen only on warehouses. The 17th century step gable looks just as you'd expect, a series of steps. The neck gable, with its straight up and down sides and scrollwork decorations, came a bit later, followed by the bell gable, which has a more rounded, bell-like shape. By the 18th century, the cornice, a flat-top gable, was most popular.
There's one thing that all gables have in common: the hoisting beams. Staircases were so narrow and steep that furniture and goods were lifted to the upper floors via the hoisting beams, along with a good strong rope, a hook, and a pulley. Goods were generally stored up high to keep them dry during the city's frequent floods. There's a strong tradition of moving things this way, as even newly constructed houses have narrow stairways and are still equipped with hoisting beams.
The church was built in the 17th century and is the largest Protestant church of the Netherlands. Hendrik de Keyser, the city's architect, designed it in Dutch Renaissance style. He died before the tower, which was made of stone and brick, was finished. The tower proved to be too heavy for the supports it was built on, which were thought to be of second-hand wood, and it started to leak. When the Kaiser's 2 sons took over the project, they decided to finish it with a lighter building material, wood. At the top of the tower is a blue crown, a gift from the Emperor Maximilian I of Austria to the city for its coat of arms.
One last thing about the Westerkerk. This was where the famous artist Rembrandt was buried, in an unmarked grave.
The church was built between 1620 and 1638. Its tower measures 87 meters.
there are house numbers, look for Kaisersgracht number 123, also known as the House with the Heads. This beautiful Amsterdam Renaissance-style building of brick and sandstone is decorated with 6 beautifully sculpted heads. They're said to represent the Greek gods Apollo, Mars, Ceres, Minerva, Bacchus, and Diana. But legend has it that they symbolize the 6 thieves who once tried to break into the house. They were beheaded by a brave servant. Today, the city's many canals are still used for transportation and for managing water levels. And they also have a new function, as a place to live. Amsterdam always seems to be short on housing, and during a real crunch in the 1960s and 70s, houseboats appeared as cheap places to live. The city now has around 2,500 of them. Some are old converted sailing vessels. Others are simply homes set on floating pads. As for cheap, not anymore. Houseboats are now connected to gas, water, electricity, and municipal sewage. And owners have to pay taxes, just like anyone else.
We are now approaching Brouwersgracht, or the Brewers Canal. This canal was part of the city's 17th century expansion. It connects the 3 main canals, the Herengracht, the Keizersgracht, and the Prinsengracht, and used to form the northwest border of the city. With its arched bridges, many houseboats, and beautiful architecture, it's now one of the most picturesque waterways in the city.
But that wasn't always the case. Many of the industries banned from residential areas ended up here. That included the smelly ones, like leather and whale oil processing. And of course, beer brewing, which gave the Brewers Canal its name. Because water quality was so poor, people turned to beer as a safer, healthier drink. Only the rich could afford wine, which was imported, but everyone drank beer.
Many of the buildings you see are old workshops and factories, or warehouses. Merchants originally stored goods in their houses, but as trade increased, more and more warehouses. See if you can spot some. Look for triangular spout gables and windows with wooden shutters. The shutters help keep goods dry and dark.
You see these beautifully decorated bicycles, one here to our right, one in front of us. You'll find these bicycles in several places in the inner city. These are made by an American artist who lives in Amsterdam, known here as the Flower Bike Man. His real name is Warren Gregory, and he was born in Florida.
Playing a friendly game of soccer or cheering for favorite athletes during a sporting event, we do it with enthusiasm.
Children are encouraged to hone their sports skills both in and out of school. Many secondary schools have state-of-the-art sports facilities, and some academic programs are even specifically designed for gifted athletes. With opportunities like these, it's no wonder that Dutch athletes tend to do very well in international sports competitions. For many years now, the Netherlands national soccer team has ranked among the 10 best in the world.
The Dutch have also won in many Olympic medals. especially in long-track speed skating, where we regularly outperform all other nations.
Aku ke dokter dulu mau diperiksa soal udah panas.
Ik wacht hier wel op jou straks, kom maar, en dan ga ik na jou de aarde doen. Kom maar.
Tadi kamu lihat ya aku lihat
We are now on the single, passing through locks that were originally built to regulate Amsterdam's water levels and to keep the city from flooding at high tide. Nowadays, locks and dams further out have closed Amsterdam's harbor off from the North Sea, and city residents don't have to worry about tides. Instead, the locks are used to flush water through the canals, keeping them clean. Amsterdam replaces the gate every 50 years or so. If you look closely, you might find the date these gates were last replaced. It's recorded on the gates themselves. Figured out that they're Amsterdammers' favorite mode of transport. All around Central stations are places to park, from a huge multi-level bike parking area to a converted ferry filled to capacity with bikes. More people bike than drive to work, and it's estimated that the city has around 1.6 million bikes. That's more bikes than people. In typical Dutch style, the bikes are very practical. Single-speed coasters with foot brakes, sometimes with a crate in front for carrying everything under the sun, including children. In Amsterdam, expect to see everyone from the sophisticated business executive to the harried mother of three, humping away on a two-wheeler.
Central Station, the transportation hub of Amsterdam, is built on 3 artificial islands and is supported by around 8,600 wooden piles. The building was designed by 2 architects, Kuipers and Van Gent, and its front is really quite amazing. Made of red brick and white accents, it's a combination of neo-Renaissance style and neo-Gothic towers. and is called eclectical architecture.
Coming full circle, we're now approaching Damrock, the original mouth of the Amstel, and nearing the end of our cruise. It's here where the Amstel once met the egg that a few peasants with dreams of building a future spawned this great city. Clearly, their ingenuity and hard work have paid off. That first dam across the river started a series of events that's led to the incredibly unique and picturesque Amsterdam we're able to enjoy today.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Please do not forget any of your personal belongings. Everything I will
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Aldın mı bilet? Aldım.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Mind your round. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. You're welcome. Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you. You're welcome. It's beautiful. Bye. No too late then. You can